Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2020. It's Champions, episode 22. Almost said career mode. It is a type of career mode. Champions series, though. And we are still involved in the national championships right now and still doing some individual time trials. Today we have Thor, and he has got a serious chance of getting something on the day. Now, race day condition-wise, it's a +1. But that gives him a 77 in time trial. There are four clear favorites with 75 or above, with the next closest, I believe, being a 71. So four strong time trialists, and then everybody else. So you could pretty much guarantee those four to all be placed somewhere within the top 5, depending on race day condition. If one of them has a bad day and somebody else has a +5 somewhere, maybe they can crack the top 4, but they're not going to win. One of the top 4 will win. Thor in the lead so far, but we're a little bit over on energy right now, so we're not in great shape. We might have to back off here a little bit, but there's a little more downhill. That first sector was definitely more uphill than the rest of what we're going to see. It looks like the third sector is fairly downhill, so we'll give it a chance and see if we can get back. Might as well take the risk, because of the 4, we're the weakest. So Thor is 4th most likely to come away with the win. That race day condition, that resistance not great. So I still think we're only going to maybe just crack the top 3 at best. So as we go through the second checkpoint, again, first place, but we are now 3rd at the first checkpoint. And by now, you figure, especially with the number 31, you figure everybody's gone through. So right now we're only better than one of the others, and that's what I'm saying. At best, I think we're going to just crack the podium. I don't think we're going to claim the win here. We are definitely weaker than the other 3, but significantly stronger than the rest of the chase group. But yes, I do think we've gone a little too hard, a little too strong. So we are going to back off some to try to make it towards the finish. Still the best here, but also, again, 3rd and a minute and a half down. So right now it's just to get a podium place. I like that we're now in a position to start actually competing for some of these jerseys. I'm glad we didn't run out before that climb, but as we approach the finish, watch that heart rate. Now it drops, so 1.4K from the finish. We're out of energy, and there's a little climb there. That's going to cost us. That is definitely going to cost us a little bit of time. In fact, we slip 1 place, so Naughton has moved ahead of us by a single second. And that's going to drop us down the order, so we drop to 5th. So we tried. We pushed. We were pushing for the podium, and instead of getting 4th, and by not making the energy part, right, so we definitely didn't get the 3rd that we were pushing for. That was 247. That was what we were on rate for. We were on rate to beat the 247, but we run out of energy. So not only do we not claim 3rd, but we slip from 4th. But we only slip by 1 spot, 5th place. So we went for the podium, came up just short. Still got a top 5 out of it. U.S. National Championships, this time at Daytona Beach, Florida. It's flat. It's a sprinter's day. And America has no sprinters right now. So we actually have a real shot at this one, even though I don't have any sprinters either. Our best is a 72. That's not quick, but because there's such a lack in quality, you never know. We might be able to win things today, especially with a strong lead out. If we make it hard on the field, and there's only a couple teams here that could actually do much in terms of any kind of lead out, then we could have a legitimate shot at this one, especially if we have that front foot and start out in front. So 160K to go. Again, my two problems are, one, we don't actually have any standout sprinters, so we don't have any advantage in that department, though we don't necessarily have any disadvantage there either, as there aren't any good sprinters here. We do have numbers where most of the teams do not, so that's good. But the race day condition is still a minor issue. We still have a couple, 2, 3, 4 riders that still have the last little bit of fatigue that we're trying to work out of their legs, as I did take over training and mostly just allowing the AI to do the rest of it. But dealing with the training to get rid of the fatigue. And it's a multi-week process, as some of them were up to 80-90% fatigue, which is just absurd that the AI is that terrible at managing it, especially with such a light calendar. I mean, at most, the riders have 50 days of racing. How can they be that fatigued from that kind of quantity, which really just isn't that much? Okay, 77K to go. We're coming up on very much needing it, but we only needed the one more time. We stretched it out. We have 3 minutes 40 seconds, and the gap's going out, so we need to get somebody, a few somebodies on the task. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Relay. But keeping an eye on the gap. The gap was fine, but suddenly it's going out with 65K to go. We have got to start pulling this thing back, and soon Captain America is going to join in on this as soon as they get up there, so that'll give us 3 riders. Okay. Alright, so we've got 3 riders, let's say all at 82, and let's see how that gap goes. It's already down to 3.5 minutes and 60K, so we're pulling it back fairly quickly. In fact, quick enough that we could probably back off to about an 80 for these 3. Give them a slightly longer shelf life, down to 319. 55K to go. EF now getting in on the action. Sometimes you just have to kind of pick up the reins and start it. And then once you start it, others are like, oh yeah, hey look, the gap is manageable. Let's do something about this. Instead of doing it themselves. Down to 250, so we've already pulled back a minute and a half. Just under 50K to go. So in 15 kilometers, we pulled back a minute and a half. At this point, we'll pull it back quite easily. Let's go ahead and back off a little bit more. 78 now. This 2.5 is beginning to get fairly manageable. Back there in sight. That's how manageable it is. But we're not pulling it back too quick right now, so I don't want to go less than 78. And those 3 are going to get tired. Down to 215. Okay, let's go ahead and use the gel for those 3. They're not going to last a whole lot longer here. Down to 132, and other teams now getting involved as we approach final 26K. So we've pulled back another minute in the last 15K. Down to a minute 11. It's just about managed now. And we're starting to see some teams go for the attack, which makes perfect sense. There's no sprinters, so what do when there's no sprinters? Classics riders go for the attack. Okay, set those 2 back to auto. Iron Man, continue the chase. We might have to get somebody else, and we might have to get into our sprint train here fairly soon. The full peloton is intact. We pulled those guys back in. Now it's 12. Left. One more rider going away. Okay, those 2 are struggling. They're going backwards. 14K. Let's go ahead and do this. 71, 74, 72, 74. Might be our best in Ant-Man. No, Star-Lord today with the Resistance. And then Hulk. These 2 would be good if they didn't have such terrible race day conditions. And then Iron Man. Yeah. All the stronger riders trying to do something. Suddenly we're at 14 at the front, so somebody's bridged the gap to get up there, but there's not much that they're getting up to. 11K to go. We're chasing at an 80, and yet we've managed to overtake that entire group. So when we actually start putting some real effort in, this is going to go up. I did not manage this the way I would normally. I set them all to 99 generally. Alright, final 8K, we can really start to speed up here. 7.5K. Gel. Okay, I think we can start pushing 99 the rest of the way. 6K to go. 5K to go. Down to the final 4. Oh, shoot. See, that's why I normally have the 99 set. I'm going to have to pause before I do each one. 3K to go. We can start our sprint soon. This is that we're out front point. 2.5K. That's the time to sprint. On to Hulk. On to 1.1K. Yeah, man. Alright, some others have been patient, have waited. It's just 700 meters, and there's only 13 riders left at the front, so we have the advantage of the position. But Colin Joyce, depending on how he's doing with energy, might be okay. We shouldn't have much trouble beating Logan Owen. Bennett has good acceleration, but not a good sprinter. McGill's a good one. McGill's decent. Got to watch out for him. And Wool, there you go. There's your top sprinter, 74-72. And they're in a pretty dangerous position. We'll see. If they've gone too early, we've got a chance. Star-Lord. Can he hang on? Here comes Quinn Simmons. We got it. Got it. We did it. All right. Star-Lord will be the U.S. national champion. Gets to wear the jersey for the next year.
But the poor souls bringing up the rear continue to cross the line. It's a bit of a knock for the morale.
Ant-Man took 5th. Hulk took 9th. Everybody played their role, did their part. We got the result. Good team result on that one. Star-Lord had no business being the winner. But there was really only a couple. I'd say Wool was really the only one, but you can see Wool only took 6th place. So they did go too early, and Wool could not get to the finish line with the energy they had. The best riders, well, this wasn't their sort of day because they're climbers. Canadian time trial, Wolverine sets off first. Deadpool is one of the favorites, so we've got a real shot here, but Wolverine on a -2 race day condition will set tempo. I think a 76 is adequate for this one. I've been on this course quite a few times. I've won this Canadian National Championship before, so it is possible. It's actually the Wilkesboro course, so it's an American one, but whatever. Deadpool lining up next, but it's out, it's back, it undulates, but it's pretty straightforward. Wolverine, you can see, is setting a good time. Conley in front of them is not a very good comparison as we hit the third of the way point. And then head back. We'll loop through and do a second lap. But you can see we're already pushing past them. We're set up for Deadpool to come. Deadpool has a sore back, but I think is on a fitness peak, so they should have a +1, so they've got a +2 and a -1 for the net on expected for the day. So we'll see how that turns out for Deadpool. If they can get a +1, I like their chances. Wolverine not doing great so far on this 76, but with resistance of a 67, you kind of see why. I think we need to back off to a 75 for a while. I'd let that go as we wrap up the first lap. Turn around here, start lap number 2, halfway point. Finish is right there to the right as you go to wrap up that second lap. Now we've already passed one rider. You can see we're coming up on the next one. And the one after that, but none of those 3 around us have much quality. So you can see why Wolverine is so much quicker than them. But even at a 75, I think we're running the risk of going a bit too deep. Deadpool. Oh, wow. Deadpool +4. A +4 for Deadpool. Oh, we've got to be the favorite today. That is an 80 time trial, 84 resistance. Oh, yes. That should be it. Only the first 2 riders are even done at this point, as we already fly past. That's somebody who is on the second lap. We're just flying past them. Okay, back on Wolverine for just a moment. We're not back to neutral, but we are definitely getting in close. And we're also coming up on those other two riders. We're going to focus mostly on Deadpool. You know what? I think I need a 73. We just need to get to the end as we go to pass that next rider. All right, here we go. Deadpool. Coming around. First half lap. Third place, 7 seconds down at the first time check. We do have the number 1 jersey, so we are the favorite. Roberge and Hool are the two. We're only 7 seconds off. DeVos, who I've won this with before, is sitting in 4th place. Wolverine is 12th at the first time check. Wolverine is 1st at the second time check right now and leads at the end of this by 1:05. We're approaching the end of the first lap. No time check here, though. Time check will be at that same point. Energy-wise, we're looking good. We're much better off than Wolverine was, who had to back off and slow down quite a bit. So DeVos now leading at the second checkpoint. At this point, Wolverine is 5th there. You got to figure Wolverine's going to drop to about that position overall. Well, 12th. I figure they will move up some, but I don't think they'll be as high as 5th. Yeah, you can see it's already down to 9th now. Okay, there's Hoyle. What about Roberge? Have we gotten them across the line yet? Not quite. Not quite. There they are. Into the lead. Here we are. And we are... There we go. There we go. Into the lead at the second checkpoint. Just ahead. This is going to be close. This is going to be close. We're not the only one on a good race day condition. DeVos goes into the lead at the finish. We've already got Wolverine down to 5th. They are again 12th at the second check. So they're same spot. Hoyle into the lead by a minute. That's one of the two we really got to watch out for. And we are a little low on energy. Back off some. We need to try to get to the end. Oh, what happened? We were totally good. Heart rate drops. Heart rate drops 1.2K from the finish. This is not good. This is not good. We're going to lose some time. Got it, though. Got it. 8 seconds. 8 seconds to the good. Yikes. That got scary. Whew. Okay, and as expected, Wolverine did drop out of the top 10. We'll see if they finish 12th or not. But Deadpool takes the win. Another championship jersey to wear for a year. Starting to claim quite a few of those. Wolverine 12th all throughout. So first, second, and final checkpoint, 12th place. Deadpool went from 3rd to 1st to just hanging on to 1st. With that expenditure of energy just over a kilometer from the finish. That happened rather suddenly. They were fine. And then all of a sudden, about 3K from the end, it was like, wait, they are not fine anymore. But we get the win nonetheless. Black Panther, 25K time trial, Uganda. Same 3 riders that we competed with before. Should be a comfortable win for Black Panther, even more comfortable than the road one. I would imagine we'll be up by quite some margin compared to them, especially when Black Panther has a 66 on the flat, but has a 76 time trial for a base. With the resistance part, Black Panther is a time trialist. And it's going to show. You can see we're already catching the front rider, or the middle rider anyway.
But now he's got to sustain that lead.
How far up are we at the verse check? Already a minute and a half ahead of Ali. Kagemu is a minute 40. All right, we are lapping Ali. A 54 time trialist. No wonder we're moving ahead of them. I guess it's not lapping, but, you know, passing them up anyway. Still leading, so and now 2 minutes plus. And Ali's the quicker one. Kagemu's even slower. Looks like we're going to be the last to start and the first to finish. 5K to go. Will we get past him? Closing him down. 4K to go. It's very technical through here. It's hard to gain time through this section. There's our chance. We go past. Yes. We've done it. We've done it. We've won in style. In style, we claim the victory. Last to start, first to finish. Times 4:32 and 3:46. Wide margin of victory. One last race for this episode, and it's the Canadian Road Race Championship. We're done with everything else, so we've got the jerseys we're going to get, and then we'll see if we can get this one as well. Deadpool obviously already has claimed the time trial jersey, but can he get the road race one as well? Well, he's still got that sore back. He's on a -1 race day condition today, so that's giving him a 75 resistance instead. But the flat's good, the sprint's good. He's in good shape. Now, Wolverine, though, is the second favorite sprinter at a 74-74. Wolverine is a sprinter. Deadpool is a classics rider, but Deadpool is faster. The resistance also favors Deadpool, so Wolverine's going to have to work for Deadpool today. And unfortunately, as two clear favorites, it's going to be us versus them. And with only two riders here, it's going to be really difficult to manage and set this thing up as some sort of opportunity for us to go ahead. Now, I would love to put Wolverine in the break, but guaranteed, no team is going to allow us one of these two riders in the break. That's not going to happen. But unfortunately, they're also going to put this on us to keep these guys in check, which means the reality is I'm going to have to use both Deadpool and Wolverine to try to keep the breakaway from going off and claiming the victory and us just fighting for 8th place. So it's going to be rough. This is going to be a very, very difficult win under the circumstances of how literally all the other teams are going to work together to see us lose. Gap's out to 220, so we've got to really make sure that doesn't start to blow up. Now, the good news is we've got 230K to bring it back. The bad news is we've got 230K to manage the peloton and keep that group in check. So, yeah. Right now there's 4 riders working. That's a brilliant sign. As long as we can keep that gap manageable and those 4 actually work, we're in great shape. Speed it up for a little bit and then just keep an eye on the gap. Keep an eye on the gap. Make sure it does not get too big. Okay, it's pushing towards 3 minutes. There is definitely some undulation here. Wolverine can handle that no problem. Deadpool, not as well. He's punchy, but does not have the mountain. But it's not that extreme. The downhill part is pretty extreme. The uphill, we'll just keep an eye on it as we go. 4%. So it does get to an actual climb for a short period of time, but most of it's inside that window of 3 degrees, so we're okay. Gap at 310. Wolverine, go ahead and grab some water. There's only 27 in the peloton. It's a very small group. That's still okay, especially with 170K to go. More than enough time to bring it back. But we are not going to be able to bring it back all alone. That's 7 riders out there. They're going to have been out front for a long time, so they will have a bit of fatigue, but Wolverine cannot pull it back all alone. So let's hope these other teams continue to contribute. One of the riders has been dropped, so that's a good sign. That is a good sign. One of the riders coming back to the peloton. They fell. Okay, they fell. That's still a good sign for us, though. Gap's almost 4 minutes. Now it's just 6 riders that we're going to have to chase. That's going to make them a little more tired. A little less cooperation in the group. More times, take turns at the front. 4-minute gap. Down to 120K. I have to start thinking about bringing this back. If it doesn't start to come down, if the gap continues to go up slightly, we might have to start contributing at the front of this to start pulling it back, because 423, that's a pretty big gap. 100K. Hint that it's going down. At least it's holding anyway. And you could say maybe it's coming back. No, it's holding. It's holding. 430. 83 kilometers. Not coming back at the moment. Let's get Wolverine on the front for a little bit. Just gently. Start to pull that time back a little bit. Try to inspire the others. I mean, he's only riding at a 73 and he's pulling it back. Under 4 minutes. Down to 3:30. Okay, we back off slightly and now they're back to working. But the gap's starting to go back out in doing that. But at least they're contributing a bit. Let's go ahead and get water one last time. Gap at 4 minutes again. 60k, it's plenty of time. Okay, back up to a 72. Let's see. Can I get any help and support? Okay, 72 is enough to get a little support. Let's see if the gap starts to come down though. It's 412. That means the breakaway is working harder, but that means they're also getting more fatigued. Back under 4 minutes. 48k. We've got to start pushing harder than this. Will I get support? Down to 345. Gap's going the right direction, but again, this is that difficult part. Nobody wants to work hard enough to pull it back. They're keeping it in check, but they're not pulling it back. Now I'm getting a little support out of 76. It's down to 3.5. Gonna have to keep pushing harder though if we're gonna bring this back. 345. It's going back out. When anybody else is on the front, the gap goes out. So they're not working quite as hard, but if I work too hard, we won't have the energy to bring it back. 30k. We've got to get going. Wolverine push. Deadpool might have to take a turn here. It's still 306. We're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. Wolverine needs to recover. Deadpool to the front. 16k to go. 246. It's not happening. He's gonna have to go solo. No, he's not gonna be able to go solo. We're not gonna make it. I told you it was gonna be really hard. If it was one man to try to pull it back, that it was not likely to happen. And here we are. We pulled back a minute and a half. That was it. Got it within 2.5 minutes. That's just not good enough. Last uphill section. This is where some of these guys are trying to attack to get 7th place.
The riders are entering the last 5 kilometers of the stage.
Brought it down under 2 minutes, or approaching 2 minutes anyway. It's not good enough though. We're just gonna have to settle for 7th. 5k to go. Slight downhill to the finish. We don't need as much energy for that. We do need the position. So we definitely have the speed to beat these guys out, but we can't have them beating us out. 2.5k. 2k. One attacker, but he's really pushing.
A victory that went right down to the wire. Wow,
now we could push for the finish. Benjamin went really early. Will we overtake him? Not quite. Not quite. He hangs on. Nicely run there by Benjamin. We get 8th place. But that was terrible. That was terrible. It's really, really hard to manage these races. It's so much easier to just quick sim them. Because when you quick sim them, the favorites almost always come out on top. They don't always, but they have a very good chance of coming out on top. When you go into these races with the favorite, the AI, everything gets put on the favorite to manage it. But when you don't have a team around you, oh gosh, it gets so tough. It's gonna be difficult to take the Canadian jersey, right? We've got 2 guys, and they're the best now. But the time trial is easy because that's individual. But the road race is that's gonna be the hardest jersey to get, because I can quick sim all those individual ones, and we'll get a few of those. And the Ugandan one's fun. It's an interesting dynamic. But the Canadian one, 35 riders, and the two strongest. It's hard to manage a group that size and keep a breakaway in check. You can only do so much with just two riders. Anyway. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. That's the National Championships behind us. In terms of the calendar, there is so little left to do. So little. And so I don't know what, if anything, we'll even really bother with the rest of the way. It's just a bunch of random small races to go. So we might just be kind of checking in. Maybe Tour of Britain. Tour of Britain's a fun one, but it's just sprints. So yeah, I don't know what else there is in here. I don't know. I don't think there's any races left that have any amount of importance for me. Chrono Kristen Armstrong maybe, but really I don't know. I don't think there's anything left that really matters on the calendar. Maybe the World Championships. That's going to be about it. So let me know if there's any races. We just took a quick look through there. Let me know if there's any races that you do want to see, and maybe I'll throw those in, because I'd like to have at least one more episode to wrap the season up, and the Worlds will take up some of that, but not much. And in terms of levels, you figure we've got enough time that there should be one more level in most of these riders along the way. So we could be hitting 79s. We're definitely getting everybody 70 pluses now, so that's good. Continue to progress, and of course we'll do our end of season check-in on where everybody's at. And if there aren't any other races, maybe that's what we push on to. We do the Worlds, and then we can do our database check instead of at the beginning of the season for the next episode. Maybe we just do that in the upcoming episode along with the Worlds and just wrap the season up. Let me know if that's what you want to see. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And bye for now.